And a good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Daytona International Speedway, where today, on this beautiful Daytona morning here in the World Center of Racing, we're getting ready to determine the starting lineup for this year's NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series Daytona 500. And if you missed it over in the NRLOA Discord, or for those that may not know from beyond the NRLOA Discord, we held some behind the scenes qualifying, and after it all was said and done, it was Jeremiah Simpson in the number 20 starting on the pole, and lining up to his outside is the number 38 of Damian Kyle Wood. So a Ford and a Toyota will be leading us down to the green flag to get the party started from here at the Daytona International Speedway. And we're just basically going to determine the starting lineup from third on back for the inside row, and then we're going to do the exact same thing for the outside row here very, very shortly. So here's how they line up for duel number 1, 30 laps each. And as you see there, Jeremiah Simpson will start on pole for this duel, and same for the Daytona 500 this Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. They have Michael Young flanking his outside with Matthew Hubert, Bob Floyd, Tyler Belladonna, PJ Vidal, Matt Jones, and then you also have Rogel Dorn, Dale Johnson II, and John Felber completing the top 10. Then you see from 11th on down, there's Terry Walker, Alex Rampus, Stephen Colon, Nathan Stapleton, Derek Hamill, Chad Gronkowski. Then Colin Block, Ava Murray make up row 4, Tatiana Noguera, Josh Lee. Row 9, for Block and Murray. And then row 10, Tatiana Noguera, Josh Lee, and then Mitchell O'Brien rounding out the field in the caboose for duel number 1 here at the Daytona International Speedway. Just getting ready for the Daytona 500, which is just a mere matter of just 2 days away. Little over 48 hours away from the start of the Great American Race. But it's going to be a very fun one. 30 laps for each duel. We're getting ready for duel number 1 from here at the World Center of Racing. Went a little too fast there. And still went a little too fast. So, as far as the first duel goes, we're ready to get started. So with that, let's go trackside to get the command to fire the engines.
Drivers, start your engines!
There it is. Engines have been fired. Pace car rolls off, and so do these 21 competitors. Remember, no matter where Jeremiah Simpson and Damian Kyle Wood finish in their respective duels, they're going to be starting on the front row no matter what. No matter what happens here in either of these duels. And let me tell you something. This has been something I have been waiting for a good while. Ever since announcing the series would return back in Christmas of 2023. You know, this is definitely a very, very big deal for me. Especially since we're doing this live, and this brings back a lot of nostalgia. And honestly, just a lot of things that should have led to, well, should have led to bigger and better things. But nonetheless, we still got there, but in a whole different way. But we're still going to do the best to maintain NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series racing and try to take the series to its full season. Hasn't been done before, but looking to do it live. So as they work their way through turns 3 and 4, it is going to be a duo of Toyotas, both from Joe Gibbs Racing. Jeremiah Simpson, Michael Young making up the first row, and then the third Toyota being Matthew Hubert, flanking Bob Floyd's inside. who's the highest starting Chevrolet. Coming around off turn 4, heading into the tri-oval. Pace car is going to drop down onto pit road. And the Gatorade duels from here at the Daytona International Speedway are officially underway. Let's do it. Simpson with a very good start. He jumps out front right away without any contest whatsoever. And then it's on for second here, was these guys are going to have a full lap to get up to full speed. Hubert tucks in, be in front of Michael Young. That's going to be for second. And now here comes the number 4 of Tyler Belladonna leading the inside line. They're 3 wide already with John Felber in the middle and Rogel Dorn trapped up on that outside. Currently the only car on that third line right now. And now we might go 3 wide, 2 rows deep here. We'll just see what happens. Simpson leads lap number 1. Right now 4 cars, single file, at least for the time being. Right now it's Simpson, Hubert, Belladonna, Jones, and now Dale Johnson II have now made it 5 cars single file. At least, again, this is at least for now. So I wouldn't count on these guys going single file for too long there. For example, you have Matthew Hubert, who just took a look to the inside going into turn number 3. He's got Jones and Johnson going with him. So that's 3 cars lined up on the inside and then 2 on the outside as Belladonna goes with Jeremiah Simpson. And now Matthew Hubert is going to lead lap number 2. Heading out of the tri-oval, back down into turn number 1, full speed. Hubert currently with the lead, Jones, and also Johnson. And here comes Terry Walker in the number 48, moving up inside of the top 10, currently being scored 7th right now. Second car on the inside line, Colin Block looking to try to make it 3 wide as they go into turn number 3. That number 98 machine putting Derek Hamill in the middle. Stephen Colon, Michael Young, both trapped up on the outside. Third line, 18-24. And now they're starting to get a little bit racing. Remember, this is very early here in this duel, so 4 laps completed, 3 laps completed out of the scheduled 30 that we're going to be running for both duels. So we still have plenty of time. Still have plenty of time to strategize and make the necessary moves possible. But right now, it's Matthew Jones. Matt Jones, who has taken the lead away from Matthew Hubert, and now Terry Walker's leading that inside line. Could have gotten 2 birds with 1 stone there, but didn't have a good enough run to get the nose underneath of that number 78. They are 3 wide, 3 rows deep up here. Alex Rampus in the middle, Mitchell O'Brien in the number 3, who started dead last. He's already worked his way up inside of the top 10, currently being scored 7th right now. Then you have Bob Floyd, Derek Hamill, Michael Young, all trapped in the middle, with Dale Johnson, Jeremiah Simpson, and as well as Tyler Belladonna. Man, I'm blanking out on some of these names. It's still very early in the season, so it'll be a little bit. Here comes Terry Walker to the inside. He's going to have Tatiana Noguera right behind him. And it looks like Walker might be able to lead this lap. He will. At the stripe. Walker leads it by 4/100ths of a second over the number 78 of Matt Jones. Now you have Noguera right there in that second position, that number 21. Second car in the inside line. I meant to clarify that, but it already came out. But 1/6 of the way through this race. 1/6 of the way through our first duel here at Daytona. Remember, if you're just tuning in, this is our first of 2 duels that we'll be running to determine the starting lineup for the Daytona 500. Our front row is Jeremiah Simpson, who will be starting on pole, and then DK Wood, Damian Kyle Wood, and the number 38, who will be starting outside, and we're going to see him in the next duel once we get around to that point. So Walker now holds on to the top position, as now they're 3 cars single file, maybe 4 if Josh Lee can clear Matt Jones heading into the 3rd corner. And it looks like Nogueira might have a partner here on the inside line. But Josh Lee is just too far back right now. That could have also allowed Mitchell O'Brien to tuck in behind Nogueira, but looks like O'Brien elected not to, and he's going to pay the price for it by being trapped in that 2nd line. Back down into turn 1, side by side for the top position. Nogueira and Walker coming out of turn number 2. Everybody still double file for the time being. Avon Murray in that number 30 almost thought about making it 3 wide, and John Felber just said, hey, if you're not going to make it 3 wide, then I will. He puts Avon Murray in the middle. Jones and Block are now on the outside, right up against the wall, and give that first place to Tatiana Nogueira and then number 21. With Josh Lee in tow, John Felber, and as well as the 36 of Chad Gronkowski, who's now moved up inside of the top 10, looks like for the first time today. Same goes for the number 42 of Nathan Stapleton. Now Stapleton is up inside of the top 10. Stapleton, who did really, really well, who ran a really good race at the Clash at New Smyrna just a couple of weeks ago. Now up inside of the top 10 and might get himself a pretty good starting position for this Saturday's Daytona 500. Could potentially do it. You never really know. 3 cars single file, and it's a trio of Fords of Nogueira, Lee, and Felber. And then you have the 2 Chevrolets side by side. That's for the 4th position, and now potentially could be for 5th as that 2nd line is starting to drift back a little bit, and that falls into the clutches of Stapleton as far as Terry Walker goes. Walker's going to be able to clear Stapleton for the moment. And now they're 3 wide for the race lead. I thought for a moment that Felber and Lee were going to work together to get around Tatiana Nogueira, but it looks like John Felber had other plans. And John Felber takes the top position here with 10 laps complete, 20 to go here in our first duel. So now Chad Gronkowski moves into the 2nd position. It looks like you're going to have to give 3rd away to either Lee or Stapleton. I'm going to say Stapleton as he tucks in front of the 34. Here comes Stephen Colon in the 24, who moves up inside of the top 10, followed by Tyler Belladonna. There's Michael Young, our pole sitters, coming back into the mix. Remember, even if Jeremiah Simpson were to win this duel, 3rd place would go to the runner-up finisher. And Jeremiah Simpson would start on the pole position no matter what happens. Whether if he wins, whether if he wrecks out, no matter where he finishes, he starts on pole for this Saturday's Daytona 500. And same goes for Damian Kyle Wood. He'll also start 2nd no matter where if he wins, wrecks out, or no matter where he finishes. Lead change up front. Nathan Stapleton is going to take it away from John Felber as they come off of turn number 4, this time by full speed. Tyler Belladonna right there. And then you have the 2 Joe Gibbs Toyotas of Young and Simpson, followed by Alex Rampus in the number 32. Remember, he was trapped in the 3 wide situation earlier in the duel, and now he moves up inside of the top 10. 4th car on the inside line, that yellow number 32, following the number 20 of Simpson. And now he's going to put him 3 abreast, so he's going to try to break up the Toyotas. Not going to be the case. He didn't have a good enough run. He might have also not had a good enough draft either, but nonetheless, here comes Michael Young to the inside of Tyler Belladonna. And he's going to take over the top position here as we're closing in on that halfway point. Coming up on lap number 15 here very, very shortly once they come back around. So Young takes over that top spot, followed by Jeremiah Simpson. You also have the 32 of Alex Rampus. Then you have Matt Jones. They got a little antsy there for at least a second, but they calmed it down just a bit. I thought one of them was thinking about making a 3 wide on the other. Currently not the case right now. Halfway. They're on lap number 15, working lap 15 right now with 14 laps complete. Next time by, it'll be officially halfway with 15 down, 15 to go. Here in our first duel. Three cars, single file. At least for the time being. Here comes Simpson to the inside of the number 18 of Michael Young. Rampus trapped on that outside. They're 3 wide further in the back. Looks like it might have been PJ Vidal that made that 3 wide move. And look at that. They're all 3 wide back there. Derek Hamill stuck in the middle with Terry Walker and Avon Murray. Simpson's going to lead that lap. Here comes Matt Jones. Jones, who had one of the fastest cars at New Smyrna. Had one of the fastest cars at New Smyrna. He's going to take over the top position in a 3 wide pass through 1 and 2. And he's going to successfully take it, heading down the back straightaway. Back down into turn 3, still 3 wide. Rampus trapped on that 3rd line on the outside up against the wall. And now Dale Johnson II moves up into the 2nd position with Rogel Dorn moving up into 3rd. We saw Rogel Dorn earlier in the event, and now he's moved back inside of the top 5, followed by Colin Block in the 98. PJ Vidal haven't talked too much about. Same goes for the 10 of Bob Floyd. As far as PJ Vidal is concerned, I believe this is the first time we're mentioning him all race long. He's now moved up inside of the top 10. Everybody's kind of spread out just a tiny bit. It's not a whole lot. Not a lot of close parameters, so to speak, for a lot of these drivers, but still as close as you can possibly get them here, as now they're battling for the top spot once again with Matt Jones and Dale Johnson. And it looks like Johnson's going to be able to take over the race lead, at least for the moment. Oh man, Johnson left it wide open for Colin Block to make it 3 wide. But Colin Block also made it wide open for PJ Vidal to make it 3 wide. Mitchell O'Brien in that 3 is going to follow. And that's going to put Colin Block, Cologne, Stapleton in the middle. They're getting really dicey here as they're coming to 12 laps to go. Johnson's going to lead it at the stripe, but just look at this mess. They are 3 wide. They were at least 3 rows deep, now 2. Just think about this. We're going to see this Saturday in the Daytona 500, but with 42 cars. So that would be very interesting as to how all that's going to end up. They head back into turn 3. Still 3 wide, double file at the front of the field for the first 3 rows of cars. Vidal's going to take over the top spot for the first time today. Mitchell O'Brien's going to follow with Tatiana Noguera and Matthew Hubert with 11 laps to go, coming to 10 to go this time by. Stephen Cologne looks like he's trying to make that middle work there. I thought he was starting to move up through the middle like a rocket ship, but it looks like it was just the outside line up against the wall that just didn't have a good enough amount of help and started to fall back a little bit. Rogel Dorn now trapped up on that third line with Michael Young. Those two are currently pretty far apart, but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to. They're going to be able to tuck in for now, but I wouldn't say too much longer there for either Young or Rogel Dorn. They're now down to 10 laps of racing to go for duel number 1, and then after this we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to get ready for duel number 2. We're going to get things prepped up for duel 2. So they head down the back straightaway once again. 3-car single file. But now Mitchell O'Brien is going to want that top position. This is all for getting some good starting spots for the Daytona 500. And this is all up front for starting third in the Great American Race this Saturday. O'Brien's going to take it over. Just barely edges out PJ Vidal by a matter of inches. You could probably put a piece of paper in front of the both of them, and Mitchell O'Brien would just still barely beat PJ Vidal. Heading down the back straightaway once again, still full speed ahead. Back into turn number 3. Everybody currently double file as if we're in pace car formation. And now they start to get 3 wide there. Rogel Dorn, Stephen Cologne trapped on the third line. Alex Rampus trying to figure out where he's going to go. Looks like he's going to tuck in on the inside line as they work their way through the tri-oval once again. Matthew Huber going to maybe see about taking a peek to the inside. He didn't. He was able to do it. O'Brien wasn't able to cut down in front of the 23 quick enough. And now here comes Matthew Hubert to the inside. This is going to be the battle for the race lead. Heading back down into turn number 3. It looks like Avon Murray's going to make it 3 wide for the 3rd position. Josh Lee is going to follow and make it 3 wide. Looks like that's going to be for 5th. Really, really close quarters here for a lot of these drivers. I thought for a second Hubert was going to try to put the crossover. Try to cross over from the top lane all the way to the bottom to take over the try to take a peek on Hubert. But O'Brien is right on the tailgate of this number 23 of Hubert. Avon Murray right there tucked into that 3rd position. And there it goes. There goes Mitchell O'Brien to the inside. Josh Lee's going to follow. I think Avon Murray thought about going with the number 3. But I think he was like, hey, this is my Toyota teammate. I probably should stay up here. And he's going to do just that. He's going to be stuck up on that 2nd line with Hubert. Terry Walker up there as well. And Josh Lee in that number 34 went with him. O'Brien, that is, to clarify. As you can see. Vidal currently the only one stuck up on the 3rd line, at least for now. Colin Block's going to tuck in behind Noguera. And now they're starting to get really racy here. Here comes Chad Gronkowski. Colin Block. They're trying to make it 3 wide in various different places, but Derek Hamill's been put 3 wide, and he's going to pay the price for being up on that 3rd line. The only car on the 3rd line. Now Colin Block's turn to be in the middle with 5 laps to go here in Gatorade Duel number 1 from here, the Daytona International Speedway. If you're just now tuning in, this is Duel number 1, and we've had ourselves a pretty good and clean race thus far here in our first duel tonight, or today I should say, on this morning. Jeremiah Simpson, Damian Kyle Wood, that's our front row for the Daytona 500. And this is just duel number 1, and we're winding down. 4 laps to go when they cross the line, this time by Josh Lee taking a peek to the inside. They're 3 wide. Further back, once you get back to that, looks like that 3rd or 4th row, maybe 5th now. And Lee Lee's gonna pretty much stay right where he is, tucked in on that bottom. That's definitely a good thing to do. And Tyler Belladonna right there, Matt Jones, Bob Floyd moving up, trying to move up inside of the top 5. I think Belladonna might have something to say here. Will he make the move? He will not. He's going to stay tucked in that back bumper of the number 34 of Lee as they come off of turn number 4. 3 laps of racing to go here for Gatorade Duel number 1. And Josh Lee leads it at the stripe. Heading back down into turn number 1. Currently 3 cars, single file. 4th place being contested here. Bob Floyd getting a good enough push from the number 36 of Gronkowski. And now he's going to, well, Bob Floyd, I think, was going to be on the outside for a little bit. And then he just basically juked right down to the inside. Right back down in front of Gronkowski. And I think that might have been a good decision. He's going to take 3rd away from Matt Jones, who's now trapped on that 2nd line. Belladonna's going to take the lead with 2 laps to go. So far, no contest for the moment until you get on down into turn number 1. Here comes Bob Floyd to the inside, followed by Chad Gronkowski. Jeremiah Simpson is right there. Same for Rogel Dorn. Alex Rampus is in the mix. And I thought he was going to have it. Bob Floyd tried to cut down in front of Chad Gronkowski. I thought he was going to have it, but he gave way to the number 36. Here they come. White flag in the wind. 1 more lap to go here in duel number 1. And he just barely let that lap. Bob Floyd did by 1/100th of a second. But he's not going to be leading coming back to the checkered flag. Right now it's Chad Gronkowski holding on to the top position. And Jeremiah Simpson right there in tow. Remember, no matter what happens here, even if Jeremiah Simpson were to win this duel, their 3rd place would go to the runner-up. They work their way down the back straightaway and into turn number 3 one last time. Simpson to the inside of Gronkowski. This is going to come down to the wire as they come off of turn number 4. Get out your cameras, side by side to the line. It's going to be the number 36 of Chad Gronkowski from the outside line, taking it home in duel number 1, and he will be starting 3rd in this Saturday's Great American Race, the Daytona 500, this Saturday. And he just barely edged out the pole sitter. That is something. If that's not a good indicator as to what duel number 2 is going to be, then I don't know what else to really tell you there. But there it is, ladies and gentlemen. This right here will be where everybody will be starting on the inside line for this Saturday's race, with the exception of Jeremiah Simpson. He's starting on pole. But there you see it there. Gronkowski is going to start 3rd. Then Bob Floyd all the way down to Tatiana Nogueira. They're going to be starting pretty much right exactly where they are. The only thing you'd have to do is just swap Simpson and Gronkowski, and that's your starting lineup for the inside line for this Saturday's race. Of course, Bob Floyd, Rogel Dorn, Alex Rampus, Tyler Belladonna, Stapleton, Lee, Young, Jones. That's your top 10 for this race. Then Johnson, O'Brien, Cologne, Hubert, Hamill, Murray, Vidal, John Felber, Terry Walker, Blanc, and Nogueira. That is your finishing order for duel number 1 from here at the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. And we're going to take a quick break and get things set for duel number 2. That's going to be coming up here very, very soon. So stick around, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go away. We will be right back.
Drivers, to your cars. Drivers, to your cars.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. And this time we are getting ready for duel number 2 from here at the Daytona International Speedway. If you're just tuning in, we just wrapped up with duel number 1. And it was won by Chad Gronkowski, barely edging out our pole sitter for the Daytona 500, Jeremiah Simpson. And the finishing order of that will be released here very, very soon. Well, more particularly, the starting lineup for the Daytona 500 will be released later on tonight once I have time to put the starting lineup together and then release it in the Discord. So, we're getting ready for duel number 2. This is Damian Kyle Wood in the number 38 starting on pole. Here's how they're going to line up for duel number 2. Of course, DK Wood, who will be starting outside front row, will be starting pole position for this race. Then you have John Andrews flanking his outside. That's a pair of forwards that'll be leading the field to the green flag. Just a little bit of some coincidence here, or a little bit of irony, that last duel we had a pair of Toyotas that was going to lead the field to the green. And now we're going to have a pair of Fords. They're going to do the exact same thing. Michael DeFeo lining up in third. Then Zachary Fitzwater, Skylar Taylor completing the top 5. Then Sustry, Crampton, Durrani, Moscow, and BB Hange. That all completes your top 10. Then we have Wyatt Walker, Nia Steidel, Daniel Adams, Sebastian Palmer, Edson Hernandez, Bryce Egan, Casey Wells. Then you have Sammy Cars, Roberto Crown Jr., Alex Savantali, and Will Parrish. That is your starting order for our 21 car field for duel number 2. Duel number 1 was honestly pretty exciting, but let's see what happens here in duel number 2. Will we actually see a little bit harder racing? It's going to be pretty interesting. This might be pretty fun to watch, and so glad once again that you guys could be with us here for this morning's festivities for the duels here at Daytona.
To your cars.
And duel number 1, as I mentioned, was pretty exciting to say the least. How will duel number 2 go? Will it be more chaotic? Let's find out by getting the command to fire the engines of these 21 cars.
Drivers, start your engines!
And there it is. Engines have been fired, pace cars rolling off. And so are these 21 competitors. The starting lineup for the inside line has already been determined, and now we're going to be determining who's going to start where on the outside for duel number 2. Would have had this, I will say, behind the scenes, would have had this all prepped up a little bit earlier, but I ran into a little hiccup, and Sammy Cars unfortunately was not in the roster. Chad Gronkowski was in it twice, so I made the necessary change, and we're all good to go. We are all good to go here. So there's no way that the duel winner from duel 1 is going to be able to race in duel number 2. Like, absolutely not. We're not going to allow that whatsoever. Then you'd have some form of unfair advantage. That is in real life, but as far as in game, it's a little bit different. And for those wondering why I am so early, that's because number 1, this was planned. And also, number 2, I will be live later on tonight. Number 3, the reason why it's at 10 a.m. instead of 11 a.m. is because there's snow and my boss had asked me to come in an hour early. So that is why we're running these duels an hour earlier. So they work their way off of turn number 4. This time by, it's going to be Damian Kyle Wood and John Andrews. They'll be leading the field to the green flag, a duo of Fords from 2 different teams. And here we go with duel number 2 from here, Daytona. Little bit of a tighter start. Remember back in duel number 1, Jeremiah Simpson was able to get out with the lead right out of the gate. Damian Kyle Wood not having as much of an easy, maneuver to try to get the top position, but he was able to do so, exiting the back straightaway and into turn number 3, but he's not going to keep it for long. Here comes Michael DeFeo in the number 40 to the inside. And coming out of turn number 4, looks like the outside line's going to get the better momentum, and Wood's going to lead lap number 1. DeFeo right there in that second position. Travis Crampton in the 22 thought about making it 3 wide on Skylar Taylor. Thought twice of it, and he's going to stay right in, tucked in behind the number 15 machine. As they come off of turn number 2, he's going to probably try it this time around. And this time, it looks like he's going to be successful at it. He's getting a good push from Val Moscow, Wyatt Walker as well. And now Taylor's put in the middle with John Andrews being the Lone Ranger around the outside line up against the wall. So now give the lead over to Michael DeFeo. He's going to come around and lead lap number 2. And now Crampton on the offense, on the inside line. He is on he's on extreme offense here. He almost tried to get 2 birds with 1 stone, almost getting Damian Kyle Wood for second, and almost peeking the nose to the inside of DeFeo for the race lead. He had the nose peeked out there for just a split second as they went down the back straightaway. A little bit of a slightly late commitment to stay behind the number 40. But still nonetheless able to cover for that second position. Now it's 4 cars single file with DeFeo leading, then Crampton second. Now going to try to go for the race lead as they head down into turn 1. So this will, yes, absolutely put Crampton up into first place. He had all the help in the world, and Michael DeFeo was just a sitting duck at that particular point. So put Crampton in the lead. Here comes Wyatt Walker. He's gonna try to make it 3 wide, and that's for first place. So Crampton, just as when he thought he had the lead, he is gonna be trapped up on the outside. He went from first, and looks like that's gonna be back to 7th, maybe 8th. As now Wyatt Walker, just right out of the gate, takes over the top position. Daniel Adams in the 55 right there in that second position. Then Edson Hernandez third. Casey Wells now starting to move up into the picture. She is going to be in the 4th spot, or currently contesting for 4th. That's with Val Moscow on the outside. Alex Savantali is going to come up into the mix. Meanwhile, back up front, Daniel Adams taking a peek down low. Currently on the bottom, but doesn't have a whole lot of help to work with here. Is now Walker's going to get a good run on the outside. Hernandez is going to drop low. That is going to be pretty good news for Daniel Adams, as now he has a drafting partner, or at least, well, he's still going to have one, because now Casey Wells has now put Hernandez up on the outside, that second line. And Daniel Adams is going to take over the race lead. Just a 1/6 of the way through this race. We're going to be 1/5 of the way through once we cross the stripe this time by. Heading back down into turn number 3, coming off of turn 4 this time around. Adams with the lead. Casey Wells peeking the nose. Roberto Crown Jr. in the number 51, who had exclaimed back in the clash at New Smyrna, he had the absolute worst luck in that event. Now going to try to turn things around here in this duel, try to get himself a good starting position. Currently sitting in the 3rd spot is Roberto Crown Jr. in the number 51 machine. And so far, performance-wise, yes, absolutely turning things around here. He's going to stay glued to the back bumper of the 7, or will he? He's going to be going 3 wide. 3 wide for that top position. Walker almost getting into the number 55. But now that puts Walker in the middle line. Currently the only car stuck in the middle. He is in that sucker hole, and he might be in there for a while if he doesn't have anybody going with him. And it looks like, yes, Hernandez and that whole second line is going to get behind Wyatt. And they might leave Daniel Adams hung out to dry. Meanwhile, back up at the front of the field, Junior led that lap. Roberto Crown Jr. led that lap. And Alex Savantali is currently up front. Here comes our Pumpkin 250 winner from back in October of last year. BB Hange in the 95. Now starting to make some noise. And now he's going to take over that top position. Leading lap number 8. You see, he won a crown jewel. He's technically won a crown jewel event over on this side of the NR neck of the woods. Won the Pumpkin 250 back in 2023. And now he has a pretty good chance of going 2 for 2 by winning the Daytona 500 this Saturday. Still a good amount of crown jewels here that we've got for this season. Of course, we have the Coca-Cola 600, which will be taking place on Memorial Day weekend. Over in May, we have the Brickyard 400, which will be taking place later this year. I think right around August, if I remember correctly. So we still have a good amount of crown jewel events, and BB Hange is very capable of winning a lot of those races. Sammy Cars, oh my goodness. All over the back bumper, that number 2, as he went 3 wide for the top position. That was going into turn number 1, but it's going to be Will Parrish that's going to have the best advantage, at least for the time being, because now Cars is trapped in the middle because Ryan Durrani, who won the Clash back on Saturday, he is going to put them all 3 wide, and he's going to take over the top position. He's going to try to keep that roll going. Ryan Durrani in this number 14, who won the Clash. Gonna try to get himself a good starting spot for this Saturday's Daytona 500. Best he can start right now is 4th. He's gonna try to start off the season with a bang. He currently has done that with the Clash at New Smyrna. Now he's gonna try to do the exact same thing in the Daytona 500, but he just got put in the top side by Crampton and John Andrews. Andrews looked like he was Crampton looked like he was going to try to take the top position away from Durrani, but John Andrews looked like he had other plans. He's going to lead that lap. Here comes Nia Steidel in the number 41 to the inside. That's going to be for second. Then you have Kyler Sustry, the lone Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota, currently sitting 3rd car on the inside line. Contesting for that 3rd position off of Travis Crampton. I think DK Wood might have something to say here. He might not, actually. Top 2 already tuck in down on the inside line. So Steidel right now holding onto that 2nd position. Currently 4th place now being contested. Damian Kyle Wood going to take it at the stripe. Zachary Fitzwater in that number 9 machine. He started 4th here in this duel. And now closing in on that halfway point, he is currently sitting in the 6th position for the time being. Let's head down the back straightaway once again. 4 to about almost 5 cars single file. Right now it's 4 side by side though for 5th. Between Crampton and Fitzwater, and now they're starting to get a little antsy up towards the front. Nia Steidel in this 41 is going to go for the race lead. Oh man, Steidel a little unsure of where to go. I thought she was going to leave that door wide open for Wood to drive low and pull up alongside. Looks like he's going to definitely do that here as they head down into turn number 1. So now Steidel is going to lose that top position to the number 38 of Damian Kyle Wood. Zachary Fitzwater, I thought he was going to have something else to say, but currently hasn't made too much noise in that department. But still nonetheless, right up there in the mix, in the thick of things. They come off of turn number 4 this time around. Back into the tri-oval. Wood. Right there. Taking over that top spot. Zachary Fitzwater in the number 9. Now moving up into the second position. He's got a good amount of help. As they head down the back straightaway once again. Remember, even if Damian Kyle Wood wins this duel, he will still start second. He'll still start second in the race, and the runner-up will take 4th. The 4th starting spot, to clarify. Halfway this time by, Damian Kyle Wood looks like he's going to lead it at the stripe with Zachary Fitzwater in tow. Michael DeFeo sitting in the second position, and you have the 2 MWR teammates of Daniel Adams and Skylar Taylor completing the top 5 as they had crossed the stripe. They're 3 wide. Looks like this is for the 6th position. Val Moscow, Edson Hernandez, Nia Seidel still being trapped up on that 3rd line. And now it is currently 6 to about 7 cars single file. I do not count on that lasting. Exactly like that. DeFeo moves low on Zachary Fitzwater, leaving him the only car up on the outside, at least for the time being. Steidel was also up on that second line, but she is too far back to help out Zachary Taylor. So at this moment, Taylor currently a sitting duck. Sound is still currently 5 cars single file. They work their way off of 2 down the back straightaway once again. They're going 3 wide right over here with Taylor or Zachary Fitzwater and also the 99 of Wyatt Walker, and they're also kind of spreading out a little bit, but I don't count on that lasting for a while. I don't count on that lasting for too long. Coming around for 13 laps to go. And Will Parrish has now gained 4 spots. He was 10th up until he crossed the start-finish line. He was 6th, but now currently being officially scored in that 7th position. Now he's going to be 6th as he takes that spot away from Skylar Taylor and maybe also Michael DeFeo. If he could take that spot away from Michael DeFeo, he would officially move up inside of the top 5. And it looks like he's going to do that very successfully. And now they're also fighting for the 2nd position. They're getting really racy as Damian Kyle Wood, currently out front, has got a mirror full of Val Moscow in this number 88. Also another driver coming up into the mix. That is Sebastian Palmer in the number 83, who had virtually dominated every single aspect of the Wendy's Clash in New Smyrna. Won his heat, dominated the race, but all because of one mulligan towards the end of the event. That's what ended up costing him, but it's going to look like he's going to try to turn things around here for the Daytona 500 this Saturday. Maybe this is the first step, getting a really good starting position. Maybe potentially he could start 4th. They are 3 wide for the race lead. Wood is going to drop that top spot and give it to Will Parrish in this number 2 machine, who has been absolutely on fire with making those 3 wide passes. And now move him up into the race lead. Here comes Palmer in the number 83 machine, right there on the back bumper of this number 2. BB Haynes right there in that number 95. 3rd car on that inside line, Roberto Crown Jr. starting to come into the mix. As they work their way down the back straightaway, full song, back into turn number 3. 10 laps of racing to go here for our second duel of the day. With Will Parrish leading, Palmer 2nd, Haynes 3rd, Roberto Crown Jr. tucking in that 4th position. Casey Wells thought about trying to take 4th away, but she's going to get blocked by Crown. And now Crown is going to take 3rd away from BB Hange. And now things are starting to get really dicey up at the front of the field. Just as much as towards the back of the field, they were 3 wide at least for a moment. And now Roberto Crown Jr. just absolutely stealing positions like they're pieces of candy. He moves up into the 2nd position. And now 1 spot closer to Will Parrish. With 9 laps of racing to go here in duel number 2, it is getting pretty interesting. Let's see if Roberto Crown Jr. can make a run here for Will Parrish's 1st place position. As they work their way off of turn number 2, heading down the back straightaway. Is Crown gonna make a peek down low? Maybe towards the entrance of turn number 3. Man, he is glued on that back bumper, but he's gonna make the move nonetheless. Down into turn number 3. Here comes Roberto Crown Jr. to the inside of Will Parrish. Ryan Durrani starting to come into the picture. Sebastian Palmer still in it. John Andrews trying to fight back as well. And Bryce Egan, who we hadn't talked about all race long, has now moved up inside of the top 10. Currently 6th right now, but trapped up on the outside line. But he still has a pretty good shot of moving up, of trying to move back inside of the top 10 before this race is all said and done. Meanwhile, off of 2, down the back straightaway. Durrani might have something to say here as they go down into turn number 3. Currently not going to be the case. And Palmer's contesting Will Parrish. That is for 3rd. As they work their way off of turn number 4. Roberto Crown Jr. still with the top spot. This is exactly what he wants. But I don't think he might be able to hold on to that top spot much longer. Seeing as how if you can get a good enough run, and if you can pull right up to the as close as you possibly can to the back bumper of the other car, you might be able to have a shot of making a pass for this top spot heading into turn number 3. And that's exactly what Ryan Durrani's doing along with John Andrews. They're going to go low on their other 2 cars that were in front of them, Palmer and Crown, and they're going to take over their respective positions as they come off of turn number 4. 6 laps of racing to go here in duel number 2. Just 6 laps to go here in duel 2. John Andrews, and that's in that number 17, now moves up into 2nd. Travis Crampton's going to follow, along with Nia Steidel in the number 41. Heading down the back straightaway once again is John Andrews. Gonna make the run for 1st place. He will not, but Travis Crampton is gonna capitalize on that. And he's gonna duck low for the 2nd position as they come to 5 to go for duel number 2. Durrani, who won the Clash at New Smyrna just a mere 2 weeks ago, currently out front here for this race. And a good chance that he might end up taking home duel number 2. If he can do that, then he has a lot of confidence heading into this Saturday's Daytona 500. Travis Crampton right there, moving right there in that 2nd position. Nia Steidel all over the back bumper, that number 22. Alex Savantali has now moved up into the 4th position, taking it away from John Andrews. Now it's 4 cars single file. I don't count on that lasting much longer, as they're down to 4 laps of racing to go from here at Daytona. Here comes Nia Steidel in the 41 to the inside as they head back down to the turn number 1. Savantali is right there, moving up into 3rd. Crampton now hung out to dry for the time being, but he is going to get picked up by John Andrews very, very shortly. Zachary Fitzwater now starting to move up as Nia Steidel takes a peek to the inside. That is for the race lead on teammate Ryan Durrani. for Stuart Haas Racing. Nia Steidl now moves up into the race lead, but here comes Zachary Fitzwater in that number 9 machine. A lot of veteran experience right behind that number 41. That could either mean good or bad news for Nia Steidl, but since there are not manufacturer teammates, I'd say that's pretty bad news. But towards the end of these things, how many friends do you really have? None. Absolutely none whatsoever. So Steidl holding onto that top position. That is exactly what she wants. And she's just going to barely tuck in front, behind, or right in front of the number 9 of Fitzwater, just slamming the door, going through turn number 3, and now heading out of turn number 4, back into the tri-oval this time by. It'll be 2 laps of racing to go here for duel number 2. Steidl currently holding onto it. Zachary Fitzwater into second. Val Moscow could have something to say about taking that second spot away, but he doesn't have a good enough run. The top 2 just remain far enough out to maintain their positions. Fitzwater all over the back bumper of that 41. He's going to make the move to the inside. This is for the top position and for that 4th place starting spot. Here comes Damian Kyle Wood in that number 38. Remember, even if he wins, second place will get the 4th place starting position in this Saturday's Daytona 500. Side by side of the line, 1 to go for duel number 2. Fitzy leads it at the line. The question is, will he be leading coming back to the checkered flag? Let's find out as they head back down into turn number 1. Still side by side, full song, 2 rows as they come off of turn number 2, down the back straightaway one last time. Wyatt Walker's going to make it 3 wide on Damian Kyle Wood. He tried it, but couldn't quite do it. Not successful. Still side by side as they come off of turn number 4 this time by. Fitzwater's going to edge ahead and clear the number 41, at least for the time being. They're still side by side, but not enough time for Nia Steidl. Zachary Fitzwater is going to take home duel number 2. Look at that. That was some good racing all the way down to the wire. And Zachary Fitzwater is going to take home the second duel here at Daytona. And he will start 4th in the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. He started 4th in this duel. He's going to start 4th in the main event this Saturday, the Daytona 500. Nia Steidl almost had it. Just lost out by 4/100ths of a second, but still going to get a good starting spot nonetheless. Damian Kyle Wood, even if he finished 3rd in this duel, he's going to start pole no matter what. So everybody else would move right up to where Damian Kyle Wood is by 1 spot. So Val Moscow, Wyatt Walker completed the top 5. He would start 8th in the Great American Race, Wyatt Walker would. Then Roberto Crown Jr., Ryan Durrani, Daniel Adams, Alex Savantali, Kyler Sustry, Michael DeFeo, Edson Hernandez, John Andrews, Bryce Egan, BB Hange, Travis Crampton, Will Parrish, Skylar Taylor, Sammy Carr, Sebastian Palmer, and Casey Wells. That is your finishing order here for our second duel here at the Daytona International Speedway. And that concludes our action for today. When it comes down to NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series action, I want to thank you guys a lot for watching and tuning in for McDonald's Cup Series action from here at the Daytona International Speedway. We are officially wrapped up with our duels. Chad Gronkowski, who is our winner from duel number 1, he will be starting 3rd, and also Zachary Fitzwater, winner of duel number 2, will be starting 4th. That is pretty much going to do it. Want to thank you guys a lot for watching. Thank you so much for being here. Full race replay will be up on YouTube very, very soon. More notably, probably later on tonight. So be sure to keep an eye out for that. But as far as our other festivities that we do here on Twitch, I will be back live at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be playing some Sonic 3D Blast for a Throwback Thursday game and then we'll be going into Fortnite. That all starts tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. And that pretty much is going to do it. So, with that being said, as far as rating, we'll save that for later on tonight. But in the meantime, one more time, congratulations to our dual winners of Chad Gronkowski and Zachary Fitzwater. And as always, I'm Elijah Leonard, also known as 11, signing out. And as far as other festivities, we'll see you on later tonight. To our race fans, we'll see you this Saturday for the Great American Race, the NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series Daytona 500.